Hi everybody, Caroline Lewis here. Just following on from my first broadcast yesterday about learning or improving English through music. As promised, I am back here in the studio, and as you can see today I have a real microphone and a real live musician sitting behind me here. Let me introduce you to the one and only Dave Lewis.
Hi.
Dave, just for your benefit, as you don't actually know this recording, if I'm talking quite slowly, it's because many of the listeners of this are not English. English isn't necessarily their first language. Okay. So what I'm doing is involving you in my English class, if you like. So thank you very much for agreeing to come here and be interviewed by your wife. Okay, as you can see, and I mentioned yesterday, behind David here is some of his massive history. He has written and recorded a lot of albums and songs over the years, and also for other people. This is a platinum disc, which he got for a big hit back in the day. So, David, how old were you when you first became interested in music?
About 9 years old.
Oh, sweet. And which bands or artists influenced you when you were young?
Well, at 9 years old, it wasn't really so much of influencing me. It was just people that I wanted to copy. People like Roy Orbison, Elvis Presley, especially Roy Orbison, because I liked his stories.
Oh.
In his songs, the stories. And he was a bit more mysterious than Elvis, but obviously Elvis too, but Roy for the songs.
Did you have a favourite Roy Orbison song?
I liked a lot of them. In Dreams, Crying, It's Over, all his hits.
At 9 years old, how wonderful. How old were you when you formed your famous band Andwella? We can see a lot of the Andwella and Andwellas Dream albums on the wall there. So how old were you when that all started?
Well, Andwella was a sort of... it was a continuation of a band that was already in Northern Ireland at the time called The Method.
Oh, okay.
And I joined The Method, and then the manager of The Method, because music was changing from soul into the sort of Cream Hendrix type thing, and he wanted to go in that direction, and so did I really too, with the blues and things like that. And so, shortly after I joined the band as the guitarist, I then became the singer. And as I was writing songs at the time, I was probably 15 or 16. The lineup changed.
So, how many songs have you written over the years? Do you know?
I don't know. Maybe a couple of hundred.
Wow, 200.
Maybe. I haven't counted them.
Do you have any favourites?
I've got a few favourites. Yeah, it depends on what mood I'm in, but I don't have one favourite.
We were talking about songs and moods yesterday, about how songs can make you feel happy or nostalgic or positive. So what would be a song that would be very uplifting, that would be very happy for people listening to this?
From that era?
Yes.
Well, probably the title track, the People's People album.
People's People, that's very popular, very popular. Can we hear a little?
I can play you the chorus. I got friends beside me every day. I got friends who help me find my way. People's people with much to say. Friends follow my road from from yesterday. People's people with much to say. Friends for tomorrow from yesterday.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I know that's really got a very great receiving in Japan. That particular song, we went to Japan a few years back and did a couple of concerts there where
Tokyo,
the Japanese are huge fans of your lyrics. And I think also in Asian countries, listening to British singer-songwriters is a great way of learning English. In fact, I just wanted to point out that we found recently these wonderful exercise books of yours from that era with all the lyrics written in your fair hand.
Yeah.
With all signed by you. Some of these are incredible. In fact, I know all of these songs, and this is when you first wrote all the lyrics down. Tell me, just talking about lyrics, I know you might have told me, but just for the sake of our viewers here, where do you get your ideas from for your lyrics? Is it something you just comes to you?
No, I mean, for instance, the People's People I just sang about was about going home and seeing my parents.
Oh.
That was about going back to Northern Ireland. When I first moved to London when I was 16 or 17 when I lived there, I used to go back quite a lot, maybe once every 2 months or something. And that was always, the songs were just about, a way of the songs were about people and places that existed.
So these books
or experiences
are almost like your diaries then.
Yeah, the songs were like a diary.
How wonderful. Yeah. How wonderful. I remember you telling me once that sometimes ideas came to you in a dream.
Yeah, sometimes they come in a dream. I dream about songs, yeah.
Is that where the name Andwellas Dream came from? You dreamt the name.
I dreamt the name, yeah.
How interesting. Great. Yeah. So just to wrap this little conversation today, hopefully we can continue this conversation because I know I know you haven't been feeling too well with your throat, and I really do appreciate your time doing this for me. But could you just tell me a little bit about what kind of music you are working on now, because you still write songs. So what kind of influences do you have in your writing currently? This
I haven't been writing songs like I used to when I was younger. I don't think anybody does when they get older, but I'm more interested in jazz and blues. As I've grown up, I've got, and especially playing in the Savoy for the last 10 years, where I've had to learn the Gershwins and the classics and all that. It's had an influence on me. So I've now developed a love for jazz standards and songs and how great those songs really were, like the Great American Songbook and things like that.
That's interesting, because the last song, in fact, that you wrote, the complete song that we put on your Spotify, is very much like a jazz standard, the I'm Yours.
Yeah, it was, sure, definitely, yeah.
Very good.
It's true.
Great. Okay, well, David, thank you so much for your time today, and I'm so